please welcome Amelia Ryan, ladies and gentlemen. Give it up.
Hello. Hello, thank you. Yes, I am somewhat of a storm in a teacup. We are all quite clear on what I mean by that part, right? Good, because it seems a little inappropriate to have to show you. But what I mean by a storm is those disasters and calamities and little old clusterfucks that we often face. But you know, I like to think that they don't just cloud, they colour our lives. And my life certainly became a touch more colourful when I was 10 years old, and I found this pamphlet that my dad left lying around for a seminar he was doing called Discovery, a seminar for gay married men. 10 years of my life and still trying to get up that great big hill of hope for some explanation. I realised quickly, not quite as I should, that my dad is part of some brotherhood of men, whatever that means. And I would cry sometimes when lying in bed just to get it all out, what's in my head. But Dad, are you feeling a little peculiar? And I'd wake in the morning and step outside, and I'd take a deep breath as you march with pride, and I'd shout at the top of my lungs, what's going on? And I say, hey, yeah, yeah, my dad's gay, yeah, yeah. I said, hey, Dad, what's going on? And so began life with a gay dad in cosmopolitan Bombo. And I promise you, admitting the fact to my bogan buddies was not an option. But how did Mum cope, you might ask? Well, 15 years of my life and still Mum was finding a way to deal with life and its complications. I realised quickly, not quite as I should, that Mum copped more than a plank of wood from our 23-year-old handyman. And I would wake sometimes when lying in late, and those noises I'd hear were not a squeaky gate, but Mum was clearly needing some urgent repairing. And I'd wake in the morning and step outside, I'm in an episode of Desperate Housewives, and I scream at the top of my lungs, what's going on? And I say, hey, yeah, yeah, renovate. I said, hey, Mum, I hear what's going on. My good, wholesome Catholic family. Mum was shagging the handyman, and Dad was flying that rainbow flag. But you know, in time, I got used to the fact that we'd be perving on the same arses. Until he dropped another bombshell. Hi, Lovey. It's Dad. I've met someone. And it's a woman. That was a man. 21 years of my life and still trying to deal with Dad's latest choice of friend and his alteration. I realised then it was becoming a trend that I can't control or even comprehend what my parents did and do. And so I say a prayer as I'm falling asleep, and I pray to accept that life is unique. But Dad, are you feeling Martha or Arthur? And I'd wake in the morning and step outside, and I'd jump up on this roller coaster ride, and I'd shout at the top of my lungs, what's fucking going on? You know, I'm just gonna leave it there on my family for tonight. Except to say that Dad and his partner Angela, or Trangela, as I might have once called her, they're now happily married. And Mum, well, if there are any hot, young, single boys in the audience, feel free to buy her a drink at the bar afterwards. 28 years of my life and still finally up that great big hill of hope. Please, Mum and Dad, no more revelations. Now, my turn. About 4.5 years ago now, a wonderful, glorious man came into my life. And I had one of those really defining moments, you know, the ones when I premiered my first ever cabaret show in Melbourne, and I thought, yep, this is it. You know, I'm doing what I love. I'm so in love. I'm driving a car that's not a piece of shit. I'm no longer working as a stripper because that happened. You know, life is bloody good. Enter a storm. And I've endured many a storm in my time, but none could have prepared me for my partner deciding to end our relationship about this time last year. And then, 7 months later, become engaged to someone else. But that's the nature of a storm, isn't it? You know, we can't predict them. We certainly can't control them. And the best that we can do is to somehow learn to just dance in the rain. I have to say goodbye. All things have to end, but I keep insisting. I go on resisting. Why should I pretend? We pay for some mistakes we never should have made. So it seems we were living in dreams, and now those dreams fade. In a perfect world, he'd hold me forever. In a perfect world, our love would stand tall. But I'm not perfect, and you're not perfect. But if you were, I wouldn't have loved you at all. It took a little time for me to come so far, but finally I see it's our impurity that makes us who we are. And there's no going back. I can't dwell on the past, have to master the art to surrender my heart and forgive you at last. In a perfect world, you wouldn't have left me feeling left out, abandoned and small. But I'm not perfect, and you're not perfect. But if you were, I wouldn't have loved you. So I'm sorry for the million stupid things I did and said, and the million other things you could have said and done instead. And I'm sorry you won't spend each minute growing old with me. I'm sorry that our life will never be the two of us that Sunday morning, waking as the light shone through, knowing at that very moment how much I loved you, and you loved me too. In a perfect world, we'd get to raise a family in a perfect house with pictures on the wall. But I'm not perfect, and you're not perfect, and life's not perfect. But if we were perfect, we'd wake up one day unable if we had ever truly loved at all.